Okay, we're starting the outer. So we just want to snip as we work. We don't want to snip too far ahead. And for the inner points, you want to snip right into the corner, the inner corner. I know it feels naughty. So right up to the line. And then if you've got any little corner bits, just snip them off. Normally I would start on the other edge away from the point, but I want to show you what a point's like, so I'm starting this side. But as long as you start on a sort of a straightish edge. I've already knotted my thread, I bring it underneath. And again, this fabric's a little bit thick, so it's a little bit stubborn to fold under. So I have been, I'll finger press. Different fabrics respond differently. This was just quite a thick patchwork fabric. It's beautiful, but it's just a little bit of a tricky sucker. So I just did a bit of finger pressing with this one just to help me turn that seam under. So grab my needle, use the tip of my needle and use my thumb to hold it down. And small stitches, the smaller the better. If you do really big grabs, you'll get big bites of the fabric. You'll get like sort of bubbly edges. So you want to keep your stitches as small as you possibly can. And when you're turning under, just make sure you're turning under the line that you've drawn on as well. So that's why you snip that's why you cut on the outside. We don't have to cut actually. So you just stitch away until we get into the corner, and you just carefully, you don't want to mess with this center bit too much, you just want to gently get your fabric under. And what we're going to do is, when we get to that inner corner, we're just going to create like do some little stitches into that corner. So, and you will probably see these because I've used white thread, but this is where you might want to use, if you've got high contrast, you might want to use a matching thread. But like I said, for most fabrics I can use a silver grey, but because this is a black, it might not be so clear. I think there's a little midgie flying around in my video too, sorry about that. So keep stitching up. Also, my stitches here, I'm not as happy with these videoing them. I just have to hold it slightly differently away from me for video. I find it's easy for me to hold it closer to my body, so you'll see my stitches a bit more here. So coming into the corner, of course I've got a knot. Get rid of that sucker. Okay, bring your needle under and just like a mil or two, probably a mil actually, just into that corner and come up and do 1 or 2 stitches. And that's just to secure that center. You don't want to mess with it too much. Don't start getting fussy with it, because it will easily fray if you start messing with that. And then again, I only snip a couple of inches ahead, and I only work within about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in front of myself. If you start working too far ahead, which is when you're new to applique, it's very easy to do. You want to keep yourself working to very small areas ahead of you. You don't want to be trying to work too far ahead. And again, this fabric, I just found it easier to do a bit of finger pressing to help me get my seams under with my needle. And so I use my thumb to help anchor, push it under. So once I get it under, you see I'll use my thumb to hold it in place, and then I'll use my needle tip to smush it, smooth it under. And then I want my next stitch to be relatively close into that V that we've just sewn into, and I've just got some loose threads, so I'm just trying to turn them in with my needle and take a tiny little stitch there, and then just keep going up and around the shape. Because it's an outer curve, you don't need to clip the curves. It's the inner curves you just usually need to clip, and I'm just smoothing out that inner. It's a little bit bubbly. With Needleturn, the more experience you get, the skinnier your seams can get, and depending on which fabric you use, but a slimmer seam is easier to get under often than a bulkier seam. A bulkier seam will give you more hassle and be harder to turn under, and so I usually probably cut. I wouldn't say a scant quarter, probably under a scant quarter actually. I just eyeball it. I soon know, I can tell sometimes if it's too thick, too wide my seam when I'm cutting and sewing, and so I'll go back and make sure I keep cutting them slim enough as I go. And when you're holding your patchwork, you're just holding it in the palm of your hand, and don't be afraid to bunch it up and get it into your palm if you need to. You don't need to be squeezing it, but you're going to need to get it into the palm of your hand, so you've got good control of it. and find the positions that are comfortable for you. Like anything with that Needleturn applique, I wanted to do this years ago, and I was too intimidated by it. And then I had various lessons and watched lots of videos, and then so a lot of the stuff I'm showing you here, lots of other people do it this way. Lots of other people do it different ways. So there's no right or wrong. I might be, I might come up for saying that, but just find the technique that works for you and that you're happy with the result. But at the end of the day, that's what matters. Are you happy with your end result? Is your applique going to stay on your quilt when you wash it? And are you happy with your result? And practice. Do some small projects. Yeah, have a go. I just love this shape. And like with this shape, if you don't want to do, say if you're not as experienced, or you don't want to sew that, applique that inner center, you could easily just trace the template and trace that, just the inner circle, and just do the inner circle and then do the outer. And that would still look really amazing. I've sped this video up now so that you, yeah, you can see some more of my stitching.